Hello, for those of you fellows who don't know me, my name is Pat Septon and I am your counsel at large here in Hanwell, at least for now. There's a policy change where they're going to try to make it so 4 councillors can overturn an election. 4, in our case, 3, how it started. Bill 45 is coming out. I get that larger, established, responsible communities, there's concerns and questions. But the larger communities, there's far less of you than there are of the smaller communities out there, smaller entities, all these new company things merging. I hope you'll support Bill 45. At the very least, they're going to take over and look after a code of conduct. You know, the maximum charge you get with Bill 45 under the province's code of conduct guidelines is up to 3 months of dollar value is the maximum you can be subtracted from. I'm on month 8. 7, no pay, no remuneration. Remember, the mayor gets to control my social media account. That's the law as it is today. A government gets to control your social media account. Imagine. In Canada, in Hanwell. And I am to work with no remuneration, else I'll be fired. That's where we're to. We're going to talk about closed session contracts. Now, we got to be careful how, I know they say closed session and contracts. That's not what was happening at all, period. Second, it was about closed session, but nothing I ever talked about in closed session. I didn't talk about anything in the closed session. I had the public side of it, and that's what I was talking about. So they're just trying to conflate things, and they know it. The Council 3, leadership and the CEO know it. The investigator knows it. But how it's going to tie to you in April 17th, sorry, just now. So we're talking September 2022, but how it relates to you personally with $800,000 in April 17th. It ties. So let's jump in. So again, going back in time with the code of conduct against me, we're on really item number 4. There's about 4 sub items in here I got charged with. So September 7th, a special meeting of council was held on September 7th to discuss the possible renewals of garbage recycling contracts so that we would have the prices for the budget. This was in closed session. Councillor Sept posted on his Facebook page the results of the garbage collection going to tender before the clerk had a chance to notify the contractors. Well, there's a big skipping of a lot of things here. First and foremost, on September 7th, at 7 p.m., 6:59, I still had no idea what this closed session meeting was about. I had no idea. Your elected official wasn't even informed by anybody what this bloody meeting was about. I had no clue until I sat down and seen it was about garbage. I immediately objected. What are we doing? This was open to the public only 1 year ago. I was preparing for this meeting. I thought we were going to do it in October. No, we had a secret, off-the-cuff-wall meeting that the public didn't even know. It wasn't. It was just the public's only notification was subject to closed session in whatever contracts. This wasn't even about contracts. We weren't talking about bids. We weren't talking about contracts. It was open 1 year ago in October 2021. And this year, in the darkness of night, even to some councillors, I'm not going to say all councillors. I don't want to say there's anything nefarious going on, but it sure doesn't give you the warm fuzzies either. Secret even to me about the garbage thing. Now, the garbage issues, for those who aren't aware, is a fairly larger issue in our community. It's one of the issues people talk about, school safety, garbage, and municipality. These things will be the same. What ended up happening? I objected. They said, no, we're doing everything right. I'm paraphrasing everything. You don't have to have a right to know this stuff. It's closed session. You come here, you're going to learn it. We'll talk about it here. That's not how I work. I should have information. I should have the information. I have to study. Guys, I have dyslexia. I'll just be blunt. I need time to read. I need time to process. I need time to understand. And moreover, I desperately want time to communicate and articulate with my constituents. If there's one thing by this September 7th meeting, people in this council, in the body, anybody who knows me knows, is I think my public engagement is a superpower, not a curse. They think it's a curse, obviously, because I'm getting all kinds of code of conducts for speaking to the public. And what did I share to the public, by the way? After our closed session meeting, I made us read everything over for public consumption. Remember, this was open just 1 year ago to the public. We weren't talking about tenders and contracts. We're talking, what do we want to do? Do we want to go to tender or not? It had nothing to do with the budget process. We wouldn't have got a price. All we had to do was say, do we want to go to tender or not? That's not a closed session thing. That's, hey, are we going to tender or not? And in theory, what are the rules? But at September 7th, I would have to try to learn the rules, Google the rules, understand the rules in no time before that. And what did I share? I shared to the public. September 8th, the next day at 2 p.m., I shared to the public portion of the public meeting that we had for public consumption. And that was my sin. The next day, I shared the public portion of the public meeting for public consumption. Carrying on, and remember, I shared the public portion of the public meeting to the public the next day at 2 p.m. Next day, an email, because I was really upset by this process, where it's another secret meeting that I didn't have a clue of. The public was definitely interested in this conversation. They would have liked to have input of what we were going to do. And we basically robbed that from my constituents. An email to council regarding the process of closed session meeting. Councillor Sept stated in an accusatory tone that the clerk did something wrong. Yeah, I suppose that's what the premise of this would be. As normal, I don't expect recourse or you to care. But for the record, I formally recommend an external review of last night's procedures, as I feel it was just wrong. A secret meeting, even secret to me. Moreover, that was public but 1 year ago. Why the change this year? What was different over October 2021 versus September 2022? Why did it have to change completely? Going on, Councillor Sept has emailed the clerk, please let me know when it's acceptable to share the public meeting portion of our meeting, when it's no longer a secret. I dislike the secrecy, obviously. Thank you. Here in the cloak of dark, in the darkness of night, we're making decisions without me having the ability to study, learn, understand, consult, and talk to my constituents about their feelings and their stuff. By the way, me talking to constituents is a superpower. I don't always agree with my constituents, make no mistake. But I like understanding the objections and why, so I can make a better informed decision. This robbed me from that in the cloak of night, and nobody else seemed to have an issue with it, just me. Moving on. When Councillor Sept, after discussing the closed session process with Councillor Sept, obviously explaining how righteous they were in this secret, even to me, secret meeting, and sharing this public portion of the public meeting with the public. She's explaining how I was wrong. And providing with an email from Brenda McKnight, municipal advisor, stating that the clerk handled the closed session correctly. Secret. I shared this, by the way, with the Ombud. The Ombud had concerns with this. I don't know where she's going to land on this particular thing, but I'm telling you, at the very time when I spoke to her, at the very least, she had concerns and she would look into it. I shared it September 14th to the Ombud. So I'm not sure what Miss McKnight's advice was, but I do have an tip out there looking for this specific information. I sent it in November. I have a court date now in July. We're only less than 8 weeks away, less than 6 weeks away from my court date, and I still can't get the information of this specific email. Except she did cut out a certain portion where it's like, yeah, you did great. I say, once again, you can do no wrong. The hour spent trying to make me the bad guy. Openness and transparency means something different to me than you guys. And she says in an insinuation of staff and council. Yeah, I guess she read that right. That is, you can't have these secret meetings, guys. You just can't. Now, let's move how it's going to open to April 17th. April 17th was yet another meeting, closed session. All I knew was closed session. It was supposed to be 7 p.m. meet at the council building. I'm asking, what's it about? Tell me what it's about. So just before noon, the CEO responds, oh yeah, no, it's just about how we're going to spend some money for Kings Clear and Island View. All right, how much? It's $78,000 we're going to spend on Kings Clear and Island View. Remember, they're just now part of our greater annual area. And I asked, well, can we put this off so I get some time to speak? What it was about is it's gas tax money. And this is the day of, so we're 7 hours before the meeting at this point. It's like, well, I feel like I should be able to talk to these people because I got to learn more about them. How do they want to spend the $78,000? And it was like, and she said, no, don't worry about it. I and another counselor got this. We know what to do. And I'm paraphrasing, I'm kind of surmising it. Don't worry your pretty little head about it. We know how to spend the $78,000. Like, whoa, no, that's not how it works. I get that you're going to have recommendations, but I would like to talk to people so I can get recommendations, so I can understand how it's supposed to be spent. Then we go, I show up 7 p.m. that night, and it wasn't about $78,000. Oh, by the way, the CEO said, it's, and everything else is nothing the public needs to know about anyway. There's no need to get them involved. It's stuff that's already determined from past. I'd argue flashing lights. So I show up at 7 p.m. that night. It wasn't about $78,000. Yes, it was about $78,000, so how to spend Island View and Kings Clear's taxpayer money. It was how to spend $800,000. And no, it wasn't predetermined stuff. People were shooting off the hip where they wanted to spend money and how much and for what. I had zero time to prepare or study, to talk to my constituents in Island View, Kings Clear, who are new to me as a community leader, but let alone to our community here. So September 7th directly ties with this. Now, how does this change? Well, now we are recording all council sessions, thanks to Councillor Heislip and the new councillors, the clerk, who's just killing it. I feel like she's trying to... I think she's doing a fantastic job. I feel like we have a lot of positives going on since the clerk's been going through her role. But we now control all committee meetings. We're recording all committee meetings, sorry. We're recording all meetings at council. Anything a public should be able to attend, now there's a right to record that. I can't tell you how excited that makes me. What a change of November, us, the people, and you and I, and people on council can make when things happen. But during that meeting, you hear it yourself. I can even point to you if you want. The mayor stipulates, I don't know what half these meetings are about when I show up. Deputy mayor says she knows. And I don't want to say that's not... it's very possible. I've been reading some emails through some other people's tippers where other people know things that I don't have a clue about. There's conversations behind the scenes that aren't even part of it, which we're going to be talking about the code of conduct coming soon, and we're going to identify some of those things that certain people are doing these things are literally coming at me for. But I get a code of conduct for this, even though the mayor stipulates I don't know what some of these meetings are about. I requested a review on the process, and I get a code of conduct. I didn't share anything from closed sessions. I shared the public portion of the public meeting to the public, and I get a code of conduct. We're going to talk about the next one is going to be about the budget and the budget process, where I literally saved each of you 10 to 18% in taxes due to failed logic, mistake. I'm not chirping failed logic, mistake. We all do it. That's not my issue. That happened over 8-month period. I'm not chirping any of that at all, by the way, because that happens. That's not my concern in this process. But instead of thanking me for catching this, instead of thanking me, wow, thanks for saving the egg on my face. 12th hour, last minute. I just finished dealing with Spookfest. They kicked me off all committee meetings, remember? So I didn't have any of this information until I got to read it. After Spookfest was done, I was the chair of. I moved over and started reading the budget process, what it is, and I tried to figure out what the tax dollar was going to mean to you. I caught the huge mistake, and I got a code of conduct for it. No, thank you. Thanks for saving the egg on my face. It's code of conduct to Pat, and moreover, he should be fired because of it. Get involved. Be involved. And if you can, please support Bill 45. Thank you.